So last night I reread Batman Year One after many, many years. And boy, howdy, these are the ones that you show up for. These are the stories that you point to as the high watermark, the ones that you point to showcase the potential of the medium. Okay, what more can really be said? What do you say about Batman Year One that hasn't been said by better, smarter, more eloquent people? It's gritty, it's grounded, it brings Batman back to a very human, grounded sensibility. It's this is pre Bat God, ultimate prep time. The main conceit about Batman is usually, well, he's the guy who doesn't have any powers, and yet most of the time he's, for all intents and purposes, just he still is a guy with superpowers. This is a dude who is sort of getting by on the skin of his teeth. He's just starting out as Batman. He he's obviously more capable than the average man, but he's still just sort of again getting by the skin of his teeth. If he wins a fight, it's with a grievous injury to himself. You see it here. He's fighting these three goons on a fire escape. It doesn't exactly go as planned, but while he is fighting them, it sort of goes into an interior monologue, so you get a better working of exactly how Batman would approach a physical situation. I like that. I like that it takes you throughout the year. It shows the dates. It grounds it in both a time and a place. I like how Gotham City has a very lived-in quality. It's very. I think people confuse sort of gritty for edgy. I think their interpretation of a gritty crime story is sort of edgy, in your face. And while this does have sort of there's prostitution and there's drugs and it's a city on a decline, it's not like nihilistic or despairing. It's very much sets the stage for a real world crime drama. That's sort of one of the things I was thinking is the superhero genre really a meaningfully distinct genre, or is it just sort of a offshoot of other genres? Like I don't necessarily like Superman because he's a superhero. I like Superman because it's a cool science fiction story. I don't know if I necessarily like Batman because he's a superhero. It's because he's a sort of fun crime noir detective type thing. This reads like an old pulp sort of Elmore Leonard novel featuring a guy who just sort of happens to dress up as a bat. Okay, so we sort of go back and forth between Jim Gordon and Bruce Wayne, who's just got back from training for however many years. The thing I like about its depiction of Jim Gordon here is it shows that he got where he is not by being the most moral necessarily, although that is part of it. Part of it is him coming in, cleaning up the corrupt police force. It's not necessarily that he's the knight in shining armor. It's that he's a dude who's willing to throw a punch. You know, he goes to talk to a guy, a mental patient who's got 3 kids hostage, and you think that he's going to sort of again use his whatever, his power of moral authority to sort of talk the guy down, but no, he doesn't. He starts off that way, and then he just clocks him one. You know, he's the bad guys have got his wife hostage, and rather than cower or second guess, Jim Gordon just blasts him, and that sort of puts him on a more even footing with Batman. Not just in a sense that like they're both on a similar crusade for justice or whatever. They're both on similar footing, and that they're men of action. They're men who are, you know, not just willing to put their morals or their ethics to the test, but they're willing to physically get in there and mix it up. And so that's fun. I like that the dialogue is very pointed. Frank Miller's a very pointed writer. Nothing feels wasted or excessive. Some comics, I feel like the dialogue is sort of too meandering, too much after the fact, sort of. This is very much, if it doesn't have to do with plot or character, there's no real messing about. Same with the art. I really like the art. It's simple. It's clean. It sort of harkens back to the very original inception of Batman. The sort of simplistic lines, but it doesn't. It's very much in service of the story. It doesn't call attention to itself, and it's not how do I put it? I'm blanking. I'm blanking out. When I say that it doesn't call attention to itself, you might get the impression that the art is sort of bland or uninspired, but that's not it at all. It's very much inobtrusive, very much in service of the story, but also has its own evocative quality, which is always necessary for a good funny book story. Okay. Anything else that I have to add? I don't like the cursive. Thought balloons on Batman here. I found it hard to read. There was at least one word in one of the balloons that I could not make out at all. I'm surprised what they got away with. This came out in, I don't know, the late 80s. There's forwards and afterwards from 1988, but I feel like some of this wouldn't fly today. Again, the sort of Catwoman as a dominatrix prostitute showing prostitution and drugs. I feel like you're for a lot of Batman, you're supposed to sort of just take Gotham City at face value, that it's kind of a crime-ridden dump. You'll have your sort of maybe mugging or purse snatching in the beginning, and then the rest of it you sort of have to sort of take it for granted. But this takes you into a world of just corruption, and it's not so much that there's a vacuum, and Batman sort of fills that vacuum. There's a vacancy of good men, of good responsible men who are willing to sort of do the law the way the law is supposed to be done. And then Batman sort of is the one who sort of fills that. Him and Jim Gordon sort of fill that vacancy, fill that void that the city needs, and you're left with the sense that they're putting it at least better than how they found it. I don't know. Anyway, that's it. That's all. Just really good. This is a book that I would give. That I would, if someone didn't like comic books at all, this is one of the ones that I would hand them to maybe try out. Just give. This is less a superhero cape and tights thing than it is just a very real, grounded, gritty. Again, words that have, I'm sure, have been applied to death when it comes to Batman Year One. But just again, it's more of very a real. I'm trying to think of words that aren't fucking gritty or grounded. Anyway, it's just a nice crime caper with a guy dressed as a bat. Okay, goodbye.